A good day to everyone. This is Dr. Arlette Sanchez Samaniego from the Department of Community and Family Medicine of FEU NRMF Institute of Medicine and Medical Center and Ilocos Training and Regional Medical Center. Today, I am going to review with you some of the principles and concepts of immunization. Let us begin by differentiating vaccination from immunization. Vaccination is a term used for actually getting an injection or taking an oral vaccine dose. In contrast, immunization refers to the process of both getting the vaccine and becoming immune to the disease following vaccination. And all of this actually aiming to develop an immune response and create immunity. Immunity is the ability of the human body to tolerate the presence of what is indigenous to our body, labeled as self, and to recognize and possibly eliminate what is foreign or not indigenous to our body, which we will label as non-self. The immune system is a complex system of cells, interacting cells, whose primary purpose is really actually to identify these foreign or non-self components. Okay? And these are called our antigens. These antigens are live virus or bacteria or inactivated substances that are capable of producing an immune response. Antibody, on the other hand, are protein molecules or immunoglobulins produced by B lymphocytes to help eliminate the antigen. So this antigen-antibody reaction will create an immune response and later on produce the immunity that we are actually aiming for. The basic types of immunization are passive and active immunizations. Passive immunity is the transfer of antibody. And sources of passive immunity may be coming from the mother, okay, in the last 1 or 2 months of pregnancy. So the infant may be protected from certain diseases for up to 1 year. Other sources of passive immunity may be blood products that contain antibody, and these are of course washed or reconstituted red blood cells, whole blood, or even platelets. Okay? And of course, immunoglobulins. This is important. While it's an advantage to have immunoglobulins in blood products, it will be very important that some vaccines may be rendered less effective when administered or given within 3 months to 6 months post-transfusion. And then, of course, we said another source of passive immunity will be your immunoglobulins. Okay. Active immunization or immunity, on the other hand, is actually a stimulation of the immune system to produce an antigen-specific humoral and cellular immunity. Now, passive immunity may be temporary, lasting for approximately like a few weeks to a few months, while active immunity actually lasts longer, maybe many years or sometimes even a lifetime. Now, how do we acquire active immunity? 2 major ways. One is to acquire active immunity by surviving an infection, okay, with a disease-causing organism. Okay, and another one is, of course, is to produce active immunity by vaccination. Now, we also have the classification of vaccines. Well, these are the basic classifications of vaccines. Now, we have the live attenuated and we have the inactivated vaccines. The more similar a vaccine is to the disease-causing form of the organism, the better the immune response is to the vaccine. Okay, live attenuated vaccines, okay, produce an immune response by allowing the modified virus or bacteria to grow in the vaccinated person. Only small doses of the virus or bacteria are introduced or administered, and this modified virus and bacteria will not cause disease. Okay? Not unlike the natural organism. Okay. The live attenuated vaccines are not without adverse reactions. Okay? They may produce a mild form of the natural disease post-vaccination, or may even produce a very severe or fatal reaction, especially in very immunocompromised patients, severely malnourished patients, patients with active cancer, or even with unstable HIV. That's why, knowing this, it is important to get clearance from our friendly oncologist or infectious disease specialist whether we can safely administer live attenuated vaccines to our patients. Many times, patients come to me for immunization, but with a history of lymphoma or leukemia, I have to make sure that they are stable at this particular time. So clearances from the oncologist is very important. Now, sometimes also vaccine viruses in live attenuated vaccines can revert to its original pathogenic form, like of course oral polio, no? Although oral polio is not very frequently used in private practice now, although it's still available in government, okay, it is one vaccine virus that may revert to its original pathogenic form. Okay, other examples of live attenuated vaccines in the market will be your mumps, measles, rubella, varicella, varicella zoster, or even your MMRV combination. Now, inactivated vaccines are produced by growing the bacteria or the virus in culture media. And then these organisms are inactivated through heat processes or maybe even by chemicals, usually by formalin. There are other forms of inactivated vaccines which we call fractional vaccines, where the bacteria or the virus or the organism is purified so that only components of this bacteria and virus are used. Okay? Now, inactivated vaccines are not active and they do not grow or replicate in the recipient's body. These vaccines cannot cause disease from infection, even in immunodeficient persons. Okay, so unlike the live attenuated, where you have to be very careful for the immunocompromised patients, or even when there are blood products administered to the patient, the inactivated vaccines are relatively less affected by all these factors. No? Again, they will not cause disease from the infection, even in immunocompromised persons. Okay, and they may be less affected by circulating antibodies than the live attenuated vaccines. Now, inactivated vaccines would usually require multiple doses because the first dose usually is only for priming the immune system. Pinapakilala lang natin siya sa ating immune system. But the second, third, or succeeding doses will now produce the immune response that we need, the protective response. Sometimes booster doses may be needed because some vaccines need periodic supplemental doses to boost or increase the antibody titers to desired levels. Now, we said that we have also fractional vaccines as inactivated vaccines. They may be protein-based like our toxoids, or polysaccharide-based vaccines, which actually contain only the cell wall polysaccharide of bacteria. Now, these polysaccharide-based vaccines may be pretty unstable, so that through the years they have developed the conjugated polysaccharide vaccines, which will now be more potent than the plain polysaccharide-based vaccines. And finally, we have recombinant vaccines, okay, which may be produced by genetic engineering technology. Okay, they are able to insert a segment of the viral gene into the gene of a yeast cell or a virus. Okay, and then now they are able to produce these recombinant vaccines. Examples are, of course, your hepatitis B. Usually you will see that in the label, recombinant hepatitis B. It is also available in your human papilloma virus vaccine, and the new brand of influenza, the Flublok, which is not yet available in the Philippines but is already available in the United States. Oh, by the way, let me take this opportunity to talk about some of the storage principles and the transport principles of vaccination. Unfortunately, I was not able to prepare slides for that. I just remember to talk about it now that I am seeing that I have more time to discuss. Okay, so number one, vaccines must be stored in the proper temperature. The vaccines that are vaccines that may be kept in the freezer would be the polio and the BCG, oral polio and the BCG, and the rest of the vaccines may stay in the body of the refrigerator. Emphasis on the body of the refrigerator. Vaccines should never be stored at the door of the refrigerator because the temperature at the door of the refrigerator is fluctuating kasi bukas tayo ng bukas ng refrigerator. So the temperature easily is fluctuating. Okay, but most of the vaccines will be in the body of the refrigerator. Okay? Also, when transporting our vaccines, it is important to be able to maintain the cold chain. You must have adequate amount of ice in the container, so much more. Actually, you're burying your vaccine into your ice, but you have to put a certain amount of water, okay, because if you just put ice cubes, you will not be able to maintain the temperature required, okay, to preserve the potency of your vaccines. So in transporting vaccines, please put a reasonable amount of water and then put your ice, many ice, voluminous ice, okay, so that you are going to create cold water enough to be able to get the temperature required for the vaccine. Okay, the common mistake is to put plenty of ice and ice packs and then there's no water, so you're not able to get that the proper temperature. Now we have new vaccines now. Now we have the mRNA or the messenger RNA vaccines. Now this is a very new type of vaccine, okay, and this is developed and this is actually represented by your SARS-CoV-19 vaccines, okay. The messenger RNA, as being messenger RNA, they teach our cells how to make a certain protein, okay, that will trigger the immune response inside our bodies. This immune response, which produces the antibodies, are actually the ones that protect the recipient or the patient from getting infected if the real virus enters the body. If you will review the features of the SARS-CoV virus, those red spikes are actually your spike protein. Okay? Now, the COVID-19 mRNA vaccine give instructions to our cells in the immune system to make a harmless piece of what is called the spike protein. So, kukuha tayo ng kapirasong spike protein dyan. Once the instructions of the mRNA are inside the immune cells, kasi yung messenger RNA yan talaga nagbibigay ng instruction, di ba, sa ating immune system. The cells use them to make the protein piece, and after the protein piece is made, the cell breaks down the instructions and gets rid of them. Now, the cell displays the protein piece on its surface. Our immune system recognizes the protein doesn't belong there and begin building an immune response and making antibodies. In the end, our bodies have learned how to protect against future infection. Okay? So, gagawa tayo ng harmless spike protein, mare-recognize yan ng immune system, gagawa tayo ng ating artificial piece, okay, that is going to actually teach our immune system to eliminate this in the future. And because of this immunologic memory, when the COVID-19 virus enters our immune system or our body, then it will recognize it as a foreign component or a non-self, and therefore the immune response will actually what is this? Will actually trigger a non-self response, and then the immune system is activated, and they will make antibodies to eliminate this protein. Okay, and in the end, we can be protected. Now, immunization against COVID-19 so far are our aim really, or actually for all immunizations. No? Immunization is one of the biggest success stories in medical history. Number one, immunization can prevent transmission of disease. Number two, immunization can prevent the development of clinical disease. And immunization or prevent development of serious disease. As far as the COVID-19 virus vaccine is concerned, they would want to accomplish all these three: transmission, development of clinical disease, and development of serious disease. However, transmission is not well documented. As of this presentation, one vaccine seems to be successful in preventing transmission, but we need more documentation. But what we are sure of now is that the vaccines available, the vaccines that will be available soon in the market will either prevent development of clinical disease in most cases, but mostly they will prevent the development of serious disease. So you may develop the COVID-19 infection, but you will not have a serious infection. So I'm an advocate of immunization, and I do believe that understanding the principles and the concepts of immunization helps us put our resources, in this case vaccines, to good use, and therefore provide our patients the better, if not the best, advantage to fight disease. Thank you and have a good day.